Oh, here we go. Mind juice. Welcome to tonight's episode. Tonight's host will be Benjamin Goes with co-host Nick Von Dolan, Vlad Sima, and myself, Dave Bone. Tonight's episode will be on environmentalism. Ben, take it away.
Hey.
All right. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
What are some major issues in the environmentalist movement?
Global warming.
Okay,
the Dakota Access Pipeline.
Okay, there's a specialty topic. Okay.
Oil in the Atlantic. No.
Okay, pollution.
That was a one-time thing. Pollution. Yeah, that's good.
We're at 2.5.
Fracking. We don't like fracking.
We don't like fracking.
What is that? Natural resource conservation?
No, that's pollution of water, essentially.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of problems.
Are we still at 2.5, or are we at like 2.6 or something?
3.5 now.
Okay. Anything else?
No, that's all. That's how simple it is.
Oh, deforestation. That's a big problem. Somewhere.
Deforestation. Endangered species.
Oh yeah, something like that.
Yeah, that's
Let me see what else I have.
the sun burning out within the next 10 years.
We only have 4 billion years left.
Did you just? And you type fast.
You type fast.
Ben,
You're
right. I got air pollution, waste pollution, conservation, resource exhaustion, and global warming.
Yeah, that's about what we said, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. So what are some things that we're currently doing about these issues?
You and me personally, or like the government?
Yeah, society, I guess.
Society.
Protest.
That's true.
Protest, yeah. That's always
a lot of people like to recycle because they think it helps.
And that concludes this episode of Mind Juice.
Get out there and recycle, people.
We generally use brands that are more environmentally friendly or claim to be environmentally friendly. Stuff like that.
Speak for yourself.
Sponsored by
Seagate. Generally.
I only buy things made by, Sunoco oil or something.
Vietnamese children.
Well, no, a good example is like paper companies, right? They'll sell paper and they'll say for every tree cut down, we plant a tree or some stupid thing like that,
For every stack of paper you buy.
That would be insane. But yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I always check my label for that.
A big thing the government is doing is the they're checking emissions coming from factories and like making them pay for however much they pollute.
Carbon tax, good.
Yeah, carbon taxing.
Vlad, any ideas?
People are making electric cars.
There we go, hybrid cars.
And solar panel.
Oh yeah, renewable energy.
All right, something I've been writing about for 3 weeks.
Right, Nick's our expert on that issue. All right, let me see what I had.
Ew, technology.
Oh, Ben, you have answers? They're just hidden? Oh no, they're not.
Yeah.
Oh, he highlighted that. He wrote them in white.
I mean, they're not answers. They're just.
Oh, I see. Look, they're.
I do that with my papers to add extra words
Dear.
to the word count. Did I say that on live?
That's.
Okay.
It doesn't work as well if you have to hand it in though, because. Anyway.
All right, then she knows. In relation to global warming specifically, with a problem this big, is there a role for government in fixing this problem? What can government do? And what could we possibly do without the government?
That pained you to ask, didn't it?
No, not at all. It's a legitimate question.
Let's see. What can we do?
I
What
know
can the
France
government-
has banned all plastic.
That's fucked
All
up.
plastic?
That's true. The French are pussies.
How are they gonna 3D print with no plastic?
They're gonna do stainless steel 3D printing.
But
Whoa.
they're so much more expensive.
Yeah. That's heavy.
Pretty much any regulation that tries to stop global warming is gonna be expensive, or whatever that is.
All right. So the government can intervene to make life worse for people. I see.
That's what they
Dude.
live for.
Dave, don't bias your answers. All right. Keep it professional.
Sorry. Let's see. What else the government do? Well, they tax us a bunch to make gas more expensive, and then we don't want to use it.
They don't do that.
Yes, they do.
No, they
What?
don't.
Yeah, they do.
What are you talking about?
To make you not want to buy gas?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. If you increase the price, then demand goes down.
About 60 cents of the price of gas is just taxes.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's funny because you can.
No, but how much of that is to stop people from buying gas in order to save the environment?
Well, that's a tricky question. The public reason is that's the whole reason. You know, that's what the politicians will say. But of course, the real reason is because they just want to make money.
Okay, so it's 0%.
In reality, but it has the effect of making people drive less. You know, like I'm just not going to go for Sunday drives anymore because
Yeah, it's just fucking
gonna be
expensive.
Right. Yeah. Well, think of it with cigarettes, right? They increase the tax on cigarettes so you smoke less, and
Very
they're just
true.
making more money.
Right. Okay. So I think we botched that question, but
Okay.
I think it was a success.
No. What can we do without the government? I like that part. Can we talk about that?
We can do anything without the damn government. What?
What kind of things can we do to combat global warming, though?
Buy electric cars.
Produce electric
All right,
cars.
but where would the incentive be in that if fuel is so cheap, right? Like if you could get a gallon of gas for 30 cents, I would just keep on driving a gas vehicle because it's cheap.
That's very true.
no problem.
Okay, here we go, Dave. You ready?
Easy.
So the thing with electric cars right now is that, well, renewable energy in general is cheaper than ever to produce in dollars per unit. It's cheaper than ever before, and it's probably one of the biggest reasons we should start investing into it. Not only that, it's also great for the environment in the sense that we're not leaving a carbon footprint when we drive, which is about 65 to 70% of our carbon emission, of our own personal carbon emissions.
Mhm.
But the thing is that with electric cars, I don't know what would change from this, but I know that because energy is so much more cheap now than it's ever been. The way supply and demand works, the demand for oil will go down and the supply will be, where it is, or it will increase because no one will buy it, and the price of it will go down. And yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. I had a really good point, but I lost it.
Well, I'd like to include that for now, right now. The problem with electric vehicles is that the energy per unit mass is far less than combustion engines.
Yeah.
Right? Like the energy density of gasoline is extremely high,
Right.
and that's why we use it.
Right, we don't get as much energy from electric. We get extreme amounts of energy from combustion engines.
Yeah.
That we
And
can't
that's the
seem
thing
to
about
get.
combustion engines. We get like 60% efficiency or something like that.
Yeah.
Like we don't even get all the energy out of the fuel, but it's
Yeah.
still better.
You get
than
like
using a battery.
30%.
Yeah, it's really low.
And we can't seem to simulate that with a battery right now, though,
No.
which is
But
part
you
of the
can.
argument.
You get like 300 miles on the Teslas.
Yeah, but those are hybrid cars. They don't run purely on
Yeah, they do. There's no gas in a Tesla. BMW makes hybrid cars.
Are you sure the Tesla is entire? I'm pretty sure the Tesla cars are hybrid.
No, there's no
No.
there's no engine. There's nothing.
No, there's no engine, just a battery.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all electric.
Or I don't know. I don't know much about cars, but yeah.
Well, that's interesting.
But
That's
they're expensive as fuck. So
Well, right, because they're one of a kind as it stands. So it's not a reality as of yet for us to be, going out to the dealership and buying those in mass quantities. But I think a gradual change towards that is where we're headed.
Yeah.
Right, and the idea is that people like to think that they're helping the environment.
Right.
So when they have that idea in their mind, that makes it more. I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but it pictures better in their mind than seeing CO2 in the air.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think maybe a good way to, maybe I'm rephrasing it for you, but this is like if you think you're helping the environment and suddenly you see something that isn't helping the environment, you'll feel more impacted because it's opposite of what you're doing.
Right. Yeah.
Otherwise, what do? I keep my lights shut off whenever I can. Try not to waste water. That's about all I do.
somebody give him a round of applause.
Ben, real quick while we're on the subject, let's talk about how you go out of your way not to recycle.
Yeah, nerd.
I don't do that.
All right, Ben. Why do
I
you
just don't
oppose
go out of my
recycling?
way to recycle.
All right.
So if the recycling bin's closer to me, I'll use that. But if the garbage can is close to me, I'll use that. Even if they're right next to each other.
I see.
He's trying to conserve his own energy,
Right, there you go.
saving the
So
environment.
you get nothing out of recycling. You don't think there's any beneficial use to it.
No. I'm not getting paid, am I?
No, but getting paid in money isn't the only thing you get out of it.
Yeah, Ben.
I like the idea of getting rid of. I don't have anything plastic around. I like the idea of getting rid of my plastic bottle and thinking that it's gonna go somewhere else and make like a pen or something. I think it's cool.
Also,
the
I
idea
use
that
this
It's not just going in the trash.
so I don't have to buy plastic bottles and recycle them.
2 rounds of applause for Vlad.
Hoorah! Hoorah!
Yeah, Dave, that's great. But, value is subjective and all that. And
Right.
I just don't care enough.
Okay. I mean, that's fair.
Let me get into the fall of America.
Like, I recycle, but it's just not a priority to me. I don't care if I do or not.
You know what I think part of that is, too, for me, is that I don't see the effects. If I were told what my recycled things went into or could turn into or will turn into, definitely, I would pay more attention to it.
Why don't you read a little? Because people
Vlad,
will tell you.
It doesn't. Okay,
Just
what you
Google
read-
it. Google it really quick, and you'll see how better
Vlad,
the
that's
planet is.
bullshit. That's bullshit. Your recycling doesn't go into that.
Yeah, let's talk about recycling for a minute because recycling, you still have to treat the plastic afterwards. Right?
Yeah.
Like so, you may be saving a little bit of energy, but it's not a lot. When it comes to plastic, you still need to melt it down, clean it, all this stuff. Whereas, like when you're producing the plastic, you have to do all that too. So you may be saving a couple steps, but like
It's like this:
it's not a lot.
the water bottle you buy at the beginning and you recycle it becomes the plastic for another water bottle. So we don't have to chop the second tree down. We just reuse the first one.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, in order to turn it into another water bottle, you have to
There's a lot of
Process
gross
it.
work that goes into it. You
Right,
can't
but
just
like you don't just take the bottle and then put water in it. You chop it up into little pellets and then remelt it into whatever shape you need, stuff like that.
Okay,
Which
but
is
I think what Vlad's saying is that, but we don't have to make new plastic, and the old plastic doesn't go to fill landfills. So we're saving costs on those ends.
yeah.
I suppose, yeah.
So we're not saving any energy, but we are saving materials. and land space. Okay, are we satisfied there?
I'm pretty satisfied.
Oh, I'm always satisfied.
Okay.
Ben, why did you pick this topic?
Because it's what I've been thinking about all week.
I've been thinking.
What is the relationship between man and nature?
God. Someone else start. I've been answering this question for 3 weeks.
Man and nature. It seems like we always try to use the nature to our advantage, and nature always tries to regrow after we damage it.
Preach.
Are we damaging it?
Yes.
I don't know. I feel like we're just using it to our advantage, and that may affect it in a way that I don't know.
So no water on this planet is new water, right? So any water that we have now has existed since the dinosaurs. So
Really? I don't think so.
I would say so. I'm not. It's not up for debate right now. No trigger.
Like, you know, like molecules and stuff. Like you can transform. You know, it's just H2O, right?
Yeah. You can on a molecular level change something to water, or extract the hydrogen and oxygen out of something and create water. But
Nick's saying that doesn't the same elements here that we had in 10,000 years
that
ago.
doesn't happen in nature to the extent of us getting new water sources every X amount of years. The water that's in the ocean and flows through rivers and lakes and ponds is the same water, if relative to for millions of years. So you're drinking dinosaur piss, Dave.
Delish.
Nick, were you going somewhere with that?
What was the part we were talking about? Oh, I don't remember. I think it had something to do with the question. Man and nature.
Yeah.
I think that the relationship between man and nature, maybe had nothing to do with what I was saying. But I will say that the relationship between man and nature is that we, in my opinion, humbly, could use it for our own advantage without hurting it as much as we are. There are a lot of things we could do better, and a lot more precautions we should take. And it turns into less of an environmental issue, more of a social issue, where we don't talk with each other about what we're doing. We're kind of just maybe on a corporate level, for instance, they may take resources and not report. So in the field of hydrofracking, that's a huge issue for water sources in those areas, because that's a lot of. First of all, it's like 14 billion gallons of water every time they frack, and it's toxic water. And water flows everywhere, and that poisons everybody, and that doesn't have to be stopped because we're people, and corporate is corporate, and they win every time.
I mean, you can sue them if you can prove that they're contaminating your water.
Right.
And I think we need some citations to that sentence before I believe it.
I watched an entire 2-hour documentary yesterday. I'll show you it right now.
And it's impossible for those to ever mislead anyone.
No.
Right, they're meant to mislead you, Nick. They're completely biased. But
right. like
Michael I agree. I agree that fracking is harmful, but
I want it to.
There's definitely things you can do against it.
Yeah, I know, but a big issue is that when companies do go through this process, and people sue them for their water, they I don't know how to say it. I'm not a lawyer. We need a lawyer in here. But I don't know. Never mind. We'll move on. I'm gonna sound like more of a fool, so I'll stop there.
No, it was good. It was good.
No, I like this point, Nick, and I think Ben, we can talk to you about this because I remember learning at Mises Institute about homesteading, which is basically if nobody's using the land, you can go and use it, and then it's yours, right? So if you consider the land underneath the earth unused, and you just are like, hey, no one's using this land, might as well go frack it, and it starts harming other people, well then I don't know, you homesteaded it, so it's yours, isn't it?
Right. That's part of the morality issue that I kind of like to get at of it, because you should care that you're poisoning people, but you don't have to, and you're not liable. What were the quotes for? Should care?
Poisoning.
Poisoning people. Okay. That you're potentially ruining water sources that don't belong to you or anyone per se. And you're exempt from those issues you might cause because of that.
Yeah, you know, for that, you have to ask who owns the water sources that you're poisoning. So,
in a perfect world, everyone owns it, but
no, actually,
no one owns it.
An individual should own it,
No.
and if an individual owns it, then if it gets poisoned, he can sue and get it stopped. Whereas right now, we all own it, and so no one has the authority to make it stop because, you know, the corporation owns it too, and they can just use it as they want.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's the same thing with privatizing a river or something. When it's governmentally owned or publicly owned, which means no one owns it, everyone can just pour crap into the river. Whereas if someone owns the river, guess what? No one can pour crap into the river. So I think that particular point, we'd have to ask who owns the river, and until the river, there's nothing we can do on that point.
Yeah, but most likely when it comes to rivers, a river, I mean, maybe a small river would be owned by an individual, but like normally a river would be owned by a corporation. Or just a group of individuals that decide or live on the river and decide they want to own the river.
The definition of a corporation, yeah.
Right. So it wouldn't be an individual in the end, anyway.
Right, but I'm just saying someone has to own the river before that person can order the company to stop poisoning it. Or to not order them to stop poisoning it. You know, maybe the fracking company pays the owner of the river to use it, and
right.
And that's what it gets used for. But I guess the point I was driving at with that question was, are the interests of man and nature fundamentally opposed?
Mm.
And if so, who should win?
Who should win? I don't think either should win because they have to live harmoniously, don't they? We need nature, and I don't know if nature needs us, but we definitely do need nature, don't we?
No, do we?
We need trees for oxygen.
So. Yeah.
We need organisms in general for sustenance.
And we need water for.
We need nature.
Do we need nature?
Define nature.
What is your definition of nature then?
Wildness.
Are you talking barbaricness or?
I'm talking about things outside of man's control.
At this point, nothing in nature is per se out of our control, aside from maybe weather patterns and things like that. But you know, there's a whole talk about how we generate weather patterns and stuff.
Right, but if you listen to the environmentalists, right, which I don't recommend doing for more than a few minutes at a time, the way they make it sound is we're at war with nature. Everything we do is hurting nature, and that human beings should stop doing things.
Stop being human?
For the benefit of nature. So the carbon tax, right, or other EPA regulations about, you know, emissions and what have you, the rationale behind that is human activities are harming nature, and we should stop doing those activities so that we don't harm nature, right? So
That's impossible to stop doing those activities.
is it?
Of course, we need farmland.
Do
We
we?
need
Right. So
raw
Are we-
materials. I mean,
are we
use
fundamentally
nature.
opposed to nature?
No.
Are we
I
at war-
I
are we
suppose
at
if we
war
want
with
to,
nature?
I don't think we're at war with nature because we want to use it. It's not like we can take it over. You
We
know?
don't want it destroyed either. I think, is that not what war implies? That someone loses and is destroyed, or?
Right, but that's the way the environmentalists phrase it. Either human beings win or nature wins. Where human beings win, nature loses, is the way they describe the problem.
I feel like environmentalists argue for sustainable acts. So using nature, but in a way that keeps nature alive, sustainable. I don't think they argue. I mean, they may argue that we're at war with nature, but what they're not arguing for us to stop using nature. They're arguing us to use nature responsibly.
Okay. You must not know too many watermelons, Dave.
Yeah, Dave.
What's a watermelon?
They're green on the outside and red on the inside.
Pink. Triggered.
What does red on the inside mean?
They're commies.
Comment.
Comment. Triggered. They're red on the inside.
They're hyper status to clothe their arguments in environmentalism.
I thought you were talking about real watermelons.
Why are we talking green?
Yeah, Dave must not know too many watermelons. Okay, so why do you guys think that the environment is such a divisive issue?
Fear mongers. It's easy to talk about the destruction of our planet and use that as
Mr.
leverage.
Fracking destroys 18 billion gallons of
Listen,
water.
I never said we have something to fear with it. But I say that I don't trust the government and corporations to listen to people, and that's what's disgusting me about it.
Okay.
Ben, what does your question mean?
I mean, Nick, hold on. Think about this though.
Are you looking at the dock?
The reason those corporations are trying to get natural gas out of the ground
Mhm.
is for people. That's
Right.
their main purpose.
Because people consume it.
Yeah, status.
What?
So I mean, they are doing it for the people. They're just not concerned about what the process is.
Right. And that makes people... I'm not personally afraid for my life, but that makes other people afraid for their lives. And I think that's important, nevertheless. What? Why you...
You ever heard of bottled water, Nick?
Yeah, I have.
Nobody's afraid for their lives.
Right, but why do I have to buy water?
Because you have to buy everything in life.
Right, why?
Because things are scarce. There's not enough of it to do everything. But
Water
you wanna
covers
do what you want.
70% of our planet.
It's not enough.
It's all set. Like what is it? Like less than 1% that is actually fresh, and most of it is in
Right.
ice caps.
Yeah.
Right. But if it wasn't scarce, we wouldn't have to pay for it. We don't have to pay for air because in any given environment, there's enough air for everybody. But in the real world, where companies need water to frack and people need water to drink and people need water for their water parks, there's not enough water for everything, which means that we have to pay prices. We have to give things up to get it. Don't become a scarcity denier, Nick.
No,
That's-
all right.
that's
That's
scary
not
shit.
what. That's not what I'm trying to go for. Maybe I'm saying it wrong. I'm presenting myself in the wrong way.
You're like, why should we have to pay for it? But that's the
No.
same dangerous road of like, why should we have to pay for college? Or why should we have to pay for healthcare? Why should we have to pay for anything? Well,
Because you're paying for
we
a
don't have enough of
service.
it.
Right.
Right. You're paying for a good.
Right.
Clean water is a valuable thing. Okay.
I need some time to think on that. Let's continue.
Nick, think about where
So-
water comes from.
Yeah, I'm
I
thinking
mean,
about it.
it has to be treated before it comes to you through your tap.
Right, it is a produced good, and like food, you need it, and you purchase food without questioning it. So
Yeah.
I
I
shouldn't
mean,
question.
even water that comes out of the tap, you have to pay for it.
Right. I think maybe. Okay, you guys are convincing me, but maybe
Hope so.
no. There's nothing you've convinced me of. I agreed with you this entire time. I'm trying to find an argument for. God, stop laughing at me. Yeah, I said move on. Let's move on. I agree. Good point,
All
boys.
right. Move on. We'll move on.
All right, so it's a divisive issue because so many environmentalists are fearmongers. That was your point.
Yes, to put it frankly, yes.
How does that make it divisive? Divisive.
Can you use it in a sentence?
This issue is divisive.
It's tending to cause a disagreement
Thanks,
between
Dave.
people.
Google is a
Yeah, no
legend.
problem.
Right. So you know how it's like a big issue in every election,
Mhm.
and people like hate each other over it.
I think
like,
people hate
like
each other
Bill
over.
Nye, Bill Nye stopped doing experiments just so that he could bash people about it.
I think people.
If you look at the doc, I have secondary questions.
Okay.
Like, why
have
do
it open.
conservatives resist so fervently?
Yeah.
Why are the Greens so terrible? And should
Should
we
we
tolerate the Greens?
All right. So my what I'll say is that I think people fight over it so much. Maybe for more than one reason, but one of them that comes to mind is that everyone wants to feel like they have the same amount of control over something. So when you have the Greens who care so very much about nature, and they see that someone is doing something without consulting them, or maybe something that's questionable to their water. They don't have control over it. I don't know how to argue this. I'm trying to be devil's advocate, but
Don't be a devil advocate. I want your opinion. Why is this issue so controversial?
I think it's controversial because people are genuinely scared that one day we'll run out of water, and I think that's circulated by the media and the Greens and people who cause fear.
But what about the conservative people who deny that there's a problem? Why do they deny it? This is a psychology question, I guess, more than
plead
an
the
environmental
fifth.
question.
I plead the fifth. I decline to answer.
Can it be?
Okay.
It's
Vlad,
as,
do you have any thoughts?
it's as easy as some people are going to be affected if they can't keep doing the same things that they've been doing. And so when people argue that we need to protect our planet more, it's going to affect the people who are depending on it in who are depending on it with harmful ways of using it.
Vlad's got a point. So like, imagine Ben is like a big oil company, right? He's gonna argue that there's nothing wrong with using oil and stuff like that. And
Damn
say
Skippy.
I'm starting up a renewable energy company that puts up windmills and stuff like that.
Hippies.
I'm gonna argue that oil is causing harm, and that you should switch to my energy source instead. But that's just
Liar.
because we both have our inside motives. We both have reasons for why we think that.
Yeah, so now the two of them are going to argue infinitely,
All right.
and they're going to make up things that aren't true, and yeah, try and back up things that are true and stuff like that. That's why it's decisive or divisive.
Self-interest. I like it. Can science be biased?
Of course.
Explain.
Well, you can pick and choose. You can hear something that argues your point, you use that, and you can hear something that doesn't argue your point, you just ignore it. So science in itself is not biased, but the way you can use it is. And even scientists can be biased, so they can take data and just choose not to use certain parts if they're bad scientists.
Right. For self-interest.
Exactly.
Okay. Do you think it's possible that all these global warming / fracking / whatever the Greens are saying these days might be
Right.
overstated?
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. But they also do have a lot of good evidence that you can look at and make your decision by yourself after looking at the data. So I don't know. I mean, there's some good in science too, because it's as exact as it can get. It's kind of hard to argue what somebody measured.
What about predictions though, like global warming models and stuff? Could those be bullshit?
I honestly don't really know how they make those models. They seem to always change like fast too. So I don't think they're ever very accurate. But if they are, I mean, I don't know much about them.
I think, yeah, they can be, or maybe. It's kind of hard to come up with that data in the first place, but there's people like Elon Musk who's really smart, and he's like, you can trust him, right? So if he says, guys, take a look at this chart, and we can see that carbon dioxide is causing temperatures to rise, then that's pretty accurate, I'd say. But then there's people like the oil companies who are like, guys, it's not real. Temperatures go up anyway. And then they're like blinding you from the fact that carbon is causing temperatures to increase by saying that it's increasing anyway. So it can be biased in that way too.
Okay. Vlad, have you ever taken a logic class in college?
Yeah.
You have?
One of my computer science classes.
What was your grade in that class?
It was
I'm just kidding, bud. Just kidding. I'm teasing you. You had 2 logical fallacies in your last sentence, so I thought I'd make fun of you for a minute. Okay.
I think it was only funny to Ben. It went right over my head.
Yeah.
All right. Last question for the night, I guess. Might it be possible to create a better environment? And if so, what would this environment look like?
Before answering your question, I think I heard Elon Musk talking about how he wants to make Mars habitable by putting water up there and stuff,
That's
like actually just building a new environment.
That's not feasible. I don't feel, but I don't know much about it.
Yeah, I don't know either. I mean, I think it would be cool though. Like, imagine, we just like fuck up this planet so much that we just move to fucking Mars.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Well, that's not the point of it.
Are you sure?
He's sending people to Mars so that we're multiplanetary. He wants to make Earth
create a division of humans?
No, he wants to. It's not like he wants people to move to Mars because Earth is gonna be uninhabitable soon. It's so that we have humans on multi planets.
Yeah. In case the Illuminati takes over.
To make it habitable is really hard. Like, one of the ways is dropping nukes on both poles.
I can't hear you. Yeah.
So, no, Nick, we can hear you.
Not you guys.
Okay, so does anyone want to answer my actual question?
Yeah, what do you mean by environment?
Man's material surroundings.
So,
is it possible to create a better environment? Better than what it currently is?
Let me reveal what my thing is.
Alternatives to wetlands.
Value of frogs. Ooh. Ooh. All right. This is all right. I'm gonna zip my lip.
So, what are you saying? That like we can try to? Is there a way that we can like manipulate weather, make things work in our favor?
Yeah. Do you think that's possible? Do you think we should do that? What do you
I think
think
that
an
we.
ideal environment would look like that's feasible?
I don't exactly know because nobody's engineered it yet. But like an example would be, people want coastline or people like their big sandy beaches, right? So they build jetties to preserve their beaches.
What's a
So
jetty?
I mean, like whatever. It's just like something that sticks out into the water to break up current and absorb the wave energy so it doesn't erode the beaches.
Like Florida.
So yeah, there's definitely ways to make the environment better for whatever we want, though. That's the thing. So I don't know if it's exactly the environment, but like we have ways of making things work in our favor, like dams. I don't exactly know. I guess whatever we need, we could probably figure it out
I think
as humans.
I think we can better it for humans, but at the cost of other species.
Should we care?
I think we should care because
What's the value of a frog?
um,
The noise they make when the sun goes down.
Right, but if animals are only valuable insofar as they serve a human end, wouldn't it be appropriate to diminish their habitats if that diminution is serving another human end?
This is tricky.
There's a lot of
Assuming that there was-
angles to look
Assuming
at
that there was
this.
a cost-benefit analysis conducted.
Well, the problem is there's a lot of the Earth that isn't habited by humans, and it's just regular animals living in some sort of biological setting.
Ecosystem. Yeah.
Ecosystem, yeah, which is free from humans, right? So I don't know if humans are so important that like we need to just eliminate anything that's not helpful towards us.
Well, what's more important?
What? I mean, what it comes down to is who owns that area, and what do they want?
Does the
What?
Do the animals own
Does the animal have any right? I don't know who owns the area at all.
So
I mean, the animal can't own it, can it?
no, or can it? Do animals have rights?
Or can it? Animal rights, no.
well,
That's
I
tricky.
mean, we're at the top of the food chain, right? So technically, we have rights over every other animal.
Is that how rights are determined?
Maybe. I mean, a lion can do it, or a tiger can do whatever it wants. So like a bird. And we are at the top of the food chain. So technically, we should have the
But
right.
is that a right or is that just an ability?
Ability.
It's a right because I think it's a right.
Honestly, I don't know.
Let's say
I don't know.
I'm in the room with a salad, okay,
Mm.
and I'm starving. I will eat that salad if I'm the only one in the room. So,
What if the salad gets hungry?
Was it your right to eat that salad, though?
if nobody owned it, if I made it myself,
Then of course that's yours. That
Does
makes
the
it
salad-
yours.
Does the salad own itself though?
say the salad had poisonous leaves and it killed me. Did it have a right to kill me?
I guess so.
Yeah.
I don't think
Okay.
you guys know what the word right means.
Oh, we're using it the way Vlad uses.
Right. We have to listen to him.
Oh, okay.
No, here. Okay, I'll restart. The same
Please.
way. The same
Did
way.
the salad have a right to kill him?
The same way. The same way.
How can I say that?
This. The same way. If you let nature run its course, we have frogs eating bugs, right?
Yeah.
Salads eating people.
Okay, so that frog, like, it is higher in the food chain than the bug. So everybody's okay with it, right? We're at the highest point in the food chain, so nobody should care what we do to anything less than us. But morally, is it morally right? Probably not. But do we as the top of the food chain deserve to do whatever we want to anything lower than us. Is my point.
Could you kill your own chicken and eat it, Vlad? Would you have the heart to kill your own chicken?
Exactly, that's different. That's like a moral decision.
So then how does that put you on top of the food chain if you won't kill your own chicken? That chicken would sooner eat you than you would eat it.
No, Nick, we kill the chicken.
As human beings.
Yeah. Okay. What?
There might be another human who would want to kill his chicken,
Yeah.
and there it'd be okay. So what was the question again?
I don't know. It's just
Is it possible to make a better environment?
Yeah.
yes. We
Right,
can-
so we were talking about the frogs. If we want to get rid of frogs in order to create a better environment, as long as it's not harming us in the future, then it should be all right. Morally, we would have to do very deep research. Morally, should we make that species extinct is a different story, but should we have the right to? I don't think it matters. I think as humans, we can collectively, like if we democratically vote for it and everybody wants to get rid of the frog population, then it should be okay.
But when do the frogs get to vote?
They don't, because we're higher in the food chain, so we can decide their fate.
Okay.
Again, this is as long as it doesn't hurt us in the long run, because you can have a wolf population and a moose population, and if the wolves kill too many mooses, then it harms them. Then the wolf population goes down. So as long as the frogs don't decrease our population, therefore making it a worse environment for us, we should be allowed to do whatever we want.
Vlad deserves 4 rounds of applause for tonight.
4 rounds of applause.
Yeah, that was really great.
Are you any disagreements, agreements?
I disagree with almost all of that, but Nick, you gotta go.
I do, unfortunately.
All right, let's end the episode then.
Yeah, let's wrap it up.
What? I want to hear Ben's.
You guys can stay for the after show.
Yeah, stick around, but we gotta let Nick go.
Okay.
All right, outro.
Yep. Dave, it's upside down.
My juice. All right. That's a wrap.